Oh dear. Oh, David. What shall we do with you then? When Icke is wrong, truth movement is wrong. In this short video, I will show a video, or at least an excerpt of a video by David Icke, speaking about Israel and about Trump and about who supposedly rule everything. And I will also show you that it is false. Now, the question I will ask is it by coincidence? Is it by chance? Or is it deliberate that it is wrong, that David Icke is wrong, and by that leading the truth movement to a wrong direction? And just to add to it, before I start, like many people around the world, a lot of appreciation to Icke's work over the last 30 years or so. Myself, I interviewed him 2, 3, or 4 times. He interviewed me a couple of times, I think. So kind of, we're kind of there on the same page with many aspects. But when it comes to this, I want to ask, is David a gatekeeper, or is he for real? So let's start with the excerpt from his video.
Absolute enormous amount on Trump. He was so bankrupt, in for $1 billion. Wilbur Ross came in, still working for the Rothschilds.
So far, so good. It's true. I agree.
Time organized 72 banks to bail out Trump. Trump is who Trump is because of that bailout.
And yes, I agree. Trump is a bad businessman, and he lost so much money that he had to be rescued by the Rothschild, as it turned to be. Yes, let's continue.
Sheldon Adelson and Miriam Adelson has given him $100 million for this election campaign. The strings of this, Donny, moved the US Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Done.
Yes.
The Golan Heights of Syria.
Oppa. Okay, let's stop here. And this is not even the important bits of this video. Yes, he was given money by many more people, not just those who I mentioned. The Golan Heights, what about them exactly? So they changed a place name for Trump, yes, but Golan Heights is part of Israel, David. Not of new Israel from 48, of ancient Israel. It's like biblical stuff. Now, I don't know what you think about the Bible or the Torah or God. And if you also believe it's somehow invented, tell this to the Muslims who rely on the Torah and the God of the people of Israel. Tell this to the Christians who rely on the Torah and of God of the people of Israel. Let's continue.
Syria becoming Israeli territory. Done.
Oh, this is Syria, Israeli territory. This is big BS. Syria is a new place. Israel, ancient Israel, is ancient by its name.
There's a location in Golan Heights now called Trump Heights in appreciation. Part of
Yes, I don't mind about that so much. It's just political stuff.
that agreement, this has been reported in the Jewish press, Trump at some point in this presidency.
Just pay attention, in the Jewish press, not Israeli press, not Hebrew press, Jewish press, right, Icke? And this is after, I think you've learned from me a couple of years ago or so in one of our interviews, you learned about the difference between Zionists and Jews. And you started maybe to differentiate for the first time between two groups of people, which you most of the time kind of mix them all together and blame them for the troubles of the world. So now you've learned there's Zionists and Jews, and Zionists are not necessarily from the people of Israel, but they kind of train the world to see it as one, which they trained you for many years to see it as one, until probably you came across my podcast and my interview, and you learned from me, as far as I remember, at least, that we're talking about two different groups of people. Let's continue.
Will sanction the Israeli annexation of the West Bank.
Opa. Israeli annexation of the West Bank. West Bank of what? Of Jordan River? What about Why don't we call it Judea and Samaria, Yehuda v'Shomron, which is the real names? You know, by the way, the land of Israel is called Israel before it was Palestine by the Romans, or as the Arabs call it, Palestine, because they cannot even pronounce their own land. If it's theirs, at least probably you should call it by a name you can pronounce. Anyway, West Bank is a new invention. Judea and Samaria, Yehuda v'Shomron, this is the proper names. And it was not annexed, it was taken from the people of Israel and again was grabbed by the people of Israel after the 6 Days War in 67. Okay, just to put things right. There was no Palestinian people before that. And if there were, according to the Romans, there were Palestinian Jews, Palestinian Arabs. There is no Palestinian nation. There is no Palestinian culture. There is no Palestinian language. There is no Palestinian currency. There is no Palestinian books. None, David, none. The West Bank was not annexed. It was originally belonged to the people of Israel. Sorry. Let's move on.
Most of it now anyway. And so you've got the blackmail, you've got the fact that he's beholding to them because they saved his backside, and you put that lot together. And
you put that lot together and you obviously, Israel is the baddie. And this is without differentiating between the government of Israel, which I can relate to what you're saying, like many others nowadays can relate to what you're saying regarding the government of Israel. But please, please, check yourself. Look after what you're saying. Hear yourself. Because the people of Israel are suffering exactly from what you're saying, that is being said by millions and more around the world, talking against the people of Israel, instead of talking against the corrupt government, which is sent to rule over Israel in the name of not God. Okay, let's just call it not God for now, which I come to it in a second. And just bear in mind, David and the rest of you, that in the prophecies of the Torah and the people of Israel, it is said that a time will come when 70 nations will come on the people of Israel and they will fail. So I know the baddies are trying to push these prophecies to take it to their side, but I'm just reminding you that it will not work. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to disturb you, and I still didn't get to the important point here. Just bear with me.
It's no surprise, is it, that he does whatever Israel tells him. The deep state wasn't vanquished when Trump came to power. It just changed its personnel.
Yes, I agree with that. But Israel is not to blame. It's like to say that Trump runs America. What about the people who sent him and paid him? It's like to say Bibi controls Israel. What about the World Economic Forum? What about those who give orders to Trump and Bibi and Macron and Trudeau and Mahmoud Abbas and Khamenei? What about those? Why don't you speak about those instead of just repeating Rothschild, Rockefeller, Rothschild, Rockefeller? Why don't you, and like yourself, Alex Jones and many others, why don't you start to speak about the power behind the power, unless you are a gatekeeper? So, for example, what about Massimo Palvacini, Aldo Barandenini, married to the French Rothschild? What about Colonna, Borghese, Tolonia, Orsini, Lucchesi, Palli, Chigi della Rover, Medici, Gaetani, Rospigliosi, Rospol, Del Drago, Vesforza? What about these names, David? Why don't you mention these names? And by the way, guys, the list is very long. The list is very, very long. I'll show you the list. I'll show you the list, guys. I'll show you the list. Trust me, I'm going to show you the list. Okay? Here is the full list, David, that you should speak of. You and Alex Jones should speak about this list, not about Trump, not about Bibi. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. This is exactly what Trump and Bibi wants you to speak about. Or let's say these families, they want you to speak about that, exactly about that. This is the full list, okay? Active families with confirmed members of the New World Order. These are all royal families controlling the world. They are behind the WHO, they are behind the UN, they are behind the Club of Rome, they are behind the Club of Budapest, they are behind the round table of Rothschild and Cecil Rhodes. They are behind child trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking. They are behind the dark net, the net. They are behind probably everything evil in this world. And they run and they go way, way back. They go hundreds of years, if not thousands of years back. And they control all the assets. They control all the land. They control all the energy sources. They control the bonds and the stock market. And I'm talking about people now. They control admiralty law. What about them? Why don't you speak about them, David? Why don't you speak about them, Alex? Why don't you speak about them? Why it's Bibi, it's the Jews, it's the Israel, it's Trump, it's Biden. These are puppets. And you know these are puppets. And we're not talking about Jews. And those who done their real research, they know that these families are not Jewish at all. These are royal families. They are pharaonic. They are Nazis. They are Romans. They are Greek. They are Italian. They are Chinese, African. So many families here. They come from all over the world and they run stuff here. Mostly they are from the West, but all come from pharaonic bloodlines, from Roman bloodlines. And they go all the way back to Babylon. And they go all the way back to worshipping Baal and worshipping Nimrod. And I know you know all this, David. So my question is, why don't you speak about them, David? I know you know. Why don't you speak about them, David? Because when you speak against Israel, Truth Movement is listening to you and saying, yes, Israel is to blame. And Israel is not saying, David, we know that. But it's not Israel, the people of Israel. But it's part of the state of Israel, or those who run the state of Israel, which are against morality. But don't get me wrong. Because the people of Israel are all for peace and for good will and good deeds. Whereas around the world, I didn't hear, probably there was, to be honest, but let's say in Israel, I didn't hear even one guy who wrote something against the atrocities committed by Hamas murderers on the 7th of October and afterwards. Not even one condemnation against it. One. Nothing. So by you going against Israel, actually what you're doing is supporting Hamas. Nowadays, this is what you do. You support Hamas, you support terror organizations, you support murderers, child rapers. I can't believe I'm saying this. David, is this what you support? Why don't you speak about these families on the screen? And the big list, the long list that I just showed. Ike, you are wrong, mate. You are wrong. And Truth Movement is wrong. And you better get this into your head. And I'm saying this with a smile, with a laughter, because I know God is here. And this is God with a big G, not their G, not the Gmail G, not the Gnostics G, not that G, but the big G in Hebrew. Elohim. Okay? So, get yourself together Align yourself with the truth and stop being wrong and tell people about what's important. It's not Trump and it's not Bibi. It's not even BlackRock and Vanguard. It's these families who control and run everything behind the scenes. That's it. Talk about that and see what happens. See what happens to our life, to the world, to these families. Let's start with that. All the best, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.